Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riv, and we've had we have a nice day today. The humidity's gone a little bit, and
I have that for the next 2 days.
I guess we should get for people who followed Bill Cosby, and he was actually on Major Crimes. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away at 54. He actually
Drowning.
he actually drowned, and yeah, in Costa Rica, he was vacationing with his family. It's unfortunate. It's tragic. Tragedy. Another tragedy. Things that I mean, unfortunately, people do pass away of disease and of old age and of whatever things. But when they go unexpectedly like this with drownings, and touch on your weekend flush, it was as usual on point. We'll start with the tragedy themes. Robert Kennedy. I'm assuming that's Robert Kennedy Sr.
Yep.
Tragedy is a tool for the living to gain wisdom, but not a guide by which to live. Very appropriate. This tragedy that we had last weekend is something to gain wisdom from, to learn from, to learn that our city does not prioritize public safety, does not prioritize its citizens, but prioritizes, as you talked a little bit about numerous times, and I have, pay raises for their friends and juggling money around and increasing the tax rate, making life more difficult for the citizens. It's a sad commentary. They're going to say it's terrible to say things like this, but the truth should be told. This is it. As Kennedy said, it's something to gain wisdom from, to learn from, not to cover up. Hello, Annalise. Nice to have you.
Hello, Patrick on YouTube.
Hello, Patrick on YouTube.
Hello, Colin.
I just got your text or email. Just beeped in my phone. But this is the thing. We have to learn from these things, and it's irritating, to say the least. It's infuriating. It's criminal. We just got a report on an investigation for. I'll let you handle the medical aspect of this, CJ, because you're the medical guy. It's about asthma. Hi, Jim. About asthma in 2 schools. Now, we know the mold problems we've had. We've shown you that we're spending millions of dollars given to a company who I just still have it in my pile of junk here, starting in fiscal year 2022, which is actually 2021, July of 2021. So this goes back already. We were paying them $798,000. Then the following year we paid them $862,000. Then in 25, we're paying them $931,000. And in 26, which is
Right
July, now $1,005,708. And next year we will be paying them $1,086,240 for maintenance of the ducts and to work on our ducts. It's in the contract. Did we learn from 21? Did we learn when we had those pictures that I show all the time of the duct work? They're in another file, but I got pictures of everything, and I save everything. So I got a big file load in this house. I got a lot of papers. Did we learn anything? No. Have we gotten rid of that company? No. Have we talked to our maintenance department about this stuff? No. This is the 3rd time that I know of
And do
And
we hire the pedophiles from that company? Yes.
Yes. And did we hire a pedophile for that company and pay him $91,500 this year? And fortunately, he resigned. And who gave him that? The same guy that's got no bid contracts, the same guy that hired these people. And I'm wondering what that guy's getting from this. And Colin, yeah. It makes me nauseous to think of the insensitivity of our mayor, who was an educator. Oh, right away, he said I was a vice principal. Don't ask me about anything. I'm just here occupying space on a 6th floor. It doesn't matter whether you were a vice principal, not a principal, which means you can't run anything, but now you're running the city and you're showing that you didn't learn how to run anything because you never had to. So you're saying, don't ask me, but it's your job to hold your department heads accountable. And if you think there's something not wrong, you got to hold their feet to the fire. And if they say it's good and it's not good, then you fire them. That's what leaders do. This is more. It more than makes me nauseous. It infuriates me because people are getting sick. They could die from some of this stuff long term. I mean, you would be a better judge of that than I, CJ. You know you are the doctor nurse. And
well, are you ready? Are you ready for the reports that Colin was referencing?
That's why I wanted you to go over it because you can give some insights that I can't give.
Let me give you the title of the reports. Fall River Spencer Borden Asthma Walkthrough, June 2025. Fall River Dolan Community School Asthma Walkthrough, June 2025. They disgust me. I looked through them very quickly. They disgust me. As Colin said, they make them nauseous.
Yeah. And Colin, they say that sometimes you have to make lemonade out of lemons, and I guess you and Kevin are the lemonade on the school committee, and Michelle Dion is our lemonade maker on this. But we don't have enough of you. We need to help you. This is inexcusable. How those people who are now running, Tommy Corey pulled his papers again. The chronic, I love everybody.
Good that you brought that up. Okay? For the school committee, this is who will appear on the November ballot. Randy Scott Dudek, Colin R. Dias, Kevin Michael Aguiar, Mark Nathaniel Mollicone, John Sylvia, Anna Christina Riley, Emmanuel Monis, Chanel Joy Stewart, Shiv Thakura, and Thomas Corey. That's it for the school committee.
He has the audacity after the cover-up, and he left for one term to make people forget, to actually, Coogan called him up and said, help, I've got people that may help Colin and Kevin, and I'm not going to be able to just kill people, make them sick in our city without some oversight. And this time it's time to demand oversight, not say he won't give me the numbers. File complaints with the Attorney General, with the Ethics Commission, with everybody. You have a right to those numbers, as do the citizens, based on our Constitution and based on 150,000 legal precedents about your fiduciary obligation to know what you're voting on and what you're spending your money on. But this is outrageous. We have a bum, and I don't know if you saw that meme. Somebody sent me a meme. I guess it was from our friend Gene's Facebook page, and it had a guy standing at a podium saying, "Vice Principal for Mayor."
Yes, I saw that.
That was great. I mean, nothing's a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now you got some bozo that can't even become a principal, wanting to run on what? His record? 6 years of doing absolutely nothing, destroying the city, focusing the only city that I know of in the United States that hasn't said that affordable housing is a priority. Everybody, even the ones who don't really mean it, say it. But not Paul Coogan. Paul Coogan will not utter the word. They gag on it. It's like, eh, eh, eh. We can't do it. I can't say the words. My rich friends will get pissed off at me. I can't say that. We want market, Kenny Fiola, we've got 5,000 units on the Wall Street. Who are you going to put in there? Illegals? People from the War College? Really? People from Newton are going to come down here, watch people get shot in the street, know that the fire department's undermanned, the educational system isn't performing. You think they want to move here? You're batshit crazy. This is nuts. I'm getting infuriated. And I heard some of those names, and I heard some names that are familiar to me. I know John Sylvia. We're going to have CJ and I have made a decision to have all of these people, offer them to come on the show. Let them make their case. Some of them have already made their case. As far as I'm concerned, I'll say it publicly. Colin has got my vote. Kevin has got my vote because they have tried to do the work.
And Riley's got my vote.
And I am hoping against all hope that Tommy Corey does not get in, no matter how many times the priest at St. Anthony the Desert tells everybody to vote for him because he's a nice guy and he sings at Mass.
And he gets the church a lot of money with contracts.
Yeah, that's true. And they made a lot of money renting out their hall. I don't, maybe coincidentally to the school department, but with that would be an allegation. We can't prove it, but then again, logical minds do inquire. But the fact is, this guy, I don't care if he sings at the church choir. I don't care if he's, Mr. Nice Guy all the time. He is a crap counselor. He does not represent the people. He represents special interests, his family, and everybody else.
That's right.
Where did he got his children jobs in the school department, didn't he?
Yep.
Coincidence? I don't think so. So listen, I don't care what he is. If I got a plumber as a next door neighbor, and I've said this a million times, or an auto mechanic, and he can't fix my car, or he can't fix my plumbing, I might have a hot dog with him if he's cooking out in his backyard, and I'll invite him over to my yard and offer him a hot dog or a hamburger when I'm cooking out. But the fact is, I'm not hiring him to do my plumbing. I'm not hiring him. And the job he has to be derelict in that duty is criminal. He has injured the children he claims to be protecting, always. He's always whining about the kids. They covered up the Malone case. They covered up the security head. They've covered up everything. He is a useless, absolutely, he's malfeasant. Yeah. And if I ever hit the mega bucks, I'd sue them all, but I can't.
Chicky on YouTube says, shameful. I'm supporting Kevin and Michelle for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
People are already making their decisions. Yeah. And I'll tell you now, I heard a lot about that fundraiser on Friday. Who was with who? Who lost support because they were with someone? People need to understand, some of these candidates, it's their first time out. Some it's their second. Some it's their third. But what's that famous Sicilian saying you always say?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Exactly. And that's what people were doing on Friday. They saw a group of three together, and they said, oh, I was going to vote for him. Now I'm not voting for him. They saw two together, and they kind of stayed together, I guess, throughout the night. Oh, I was going to vote for him, but I'm not going to support him now. You are going to be known by the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Kind of like
Okay,
when they
and I
opened up paper
understand
with
politics is a game of handshakes and deal making, but during campaign season, especially when you're a candidate and not an incumbent, you got to be extra careful because people are going to judge you by that. And like you see here, there are people that don't want Paul Coogan. They're all saying ABC, anyone but Coogan. So if you're surrounded by Coogan, you may not get the votes.
Well, this is the thing. People have to stop voting for these other offices, which are actually more important than the mayor, like city
Right.
council and school committee, because it doesn't matter what the mayor proposes. He can't get it through if he's proposing something that's bad. If you have a checks and balance in the school committee and a city council, they won't give them the money to misspend, and they have. So you have to think about it. And listen, I don't care if you like Brad Kilby. I don't care if you like Paul Hart. I don't care if you like Tommy Corey. You are not adopting him or bringing him into your friendship circle. You're electing him to spend taxpayer money wisely and protect the citizens of this city in the schools and in public safety. And they are not doing the job. Historically, those guys have been in forever. Hart has been a fixture at the school committee, bounced back and forth, school committee, city council, school committee, back to the city council. The same thing with Kilby, school committee, back, bounce and forth. And they have a record. You're not voting on theory now. They have supported everything blindly that this useless, non-functional. I mean, listen, Joe Biden's got an excuse. His brain is made of marshmallows and pudding. I mean, he doesn't know what he did. He wasn't doing it. We've already proven that there were people running the government because he couldn't find his way out of the closet in the White House. Paul Coogan is doing this intentionally. He is doing this intentionally, and they are accessories before, during, and after the fact to everything bad that he has done. Every misspent dollar, the $2 million they blew that they should have for health care, the money in a retirement system that they shit the bed on. They won't pay on time. They don't want to pay on time. They want to pay less all the time. Everything that he's done. And we're going to have to pay double and triple to make up the money that we already paid to pay these bills. They've supported everything. You should not vote for them. And I don't care if you like them. Have enough integrity to say, listen, I may like you. You like the same baseball team. I may like you because you might tell a joke or two. I think that's a line from a song somewhere. But the fact is, I'm not voting for him. I've known Brad Kilby for years. I've known Paul Hart for years. They don't like me anymore because I tell them the truth. They're shit bums as public officials. They don't do their job. They're ass kisses. That's the reason I didn't make chief of the fire department. You wonder why the department's always that way? I was on a list to make chief. I was told directly by the mayor, you will not get the job because you won't do what you're told. That's right. I would do the right thing, like Stapleton did in Boston. That immediately put me out of the running for chief of the Fall River Fire Department. Linda's talking about, he should be on the committee. Well, I could have been a chief, but no. They don't want people who are going to do the right thing for the people and for their department and for the safety of the public. They want people who will nod their heads, every department head. Instead, you should have a city council and a school committee that holds the mayor accountable for every single department head he appoints. And if that department head doesn't do the job, they should be moving to terminate them. Period. These people do not deserve to be in those seats. This isn't a part-time gig for them to make pin money. and to get some time toward their retirement, that they'll move over and get a full-time job to rape the retirement system. It's not. It's supposed to be, what do they call them euphemistically? Public servants.
Right.
You're not serving the public. They have not served the public from the day their ass hit the chair. I'm sorry. I just can't do that.
Let's look at the elections office.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm sorry. I was born, unfortunately, with some integrity and a moral compass. When I was brought up to call them like I see them. Fight when you have, somebody starts a fight, you finish it. Don't start it, you finish it. And my father told me when I was a very, very young boy, you respect everyone if they respect you, and respect anybody that does an honest day's work for an honest day's wage, no matter what that job is, whether he's a janitor or a CFO of one of the biggest companies in the world. You respect them if they deserve respect, because everybody that does an honest day's work for an honest day's wage deserves respect. But these people do not deserve respect. As a matter of fact, they have alienated me. They don't like me anymore. I don't care, because we're gonna do what we've been doing on this show for almost 16 years. That's called balls and strikes. Their record speaks for itself. This is a real black and white election. There are no gray areas in this election. Every one of these people has a long track record of non-performance and of not abiding by their constitutional oath. These people, the people that don't deserve to be in there, and it's up to you to get all your friends, tell your friends to call 5 more people, get them all to the polls, and let's bounce all these bums.
Chickie's agreeing with you 100%, Chip.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Good. Well, yeah. But
so it's very interesting.
That's what we have to do. Look, this is not one of those elections where we got 20,000 people with no record. All you got to do is depend on their promises. We have to get these new people on, see what they're saying they're going to do, evaluate it, and cast we have, every incumbent now has a record. We know it, except Ricky Teeth just got in there. It's kind of like, okay, he's kind of like an outlier because of what happened here. But the fact is, they all have records to judge. The new people, we have to take their word. If they don't keep their word, we bounce them. That's what we got to do. We got to start the revolution now. You're right, Annalise. We've been hoping for the last 3 elections, but
see, and this is the problem, though. You said it clearly. These people have done nothing except serve themselves, give their families jobs, and people don't change their mind. They vote for these idiots anyways. I don't know who's dumber, the politician or the voter.
Well, you say lazy. Scott, I don't know what of all the things we've covered is impossible. Getting them all out. Well, we did have 1995. We got 5 out of 9. We got a majority of the council out. I remember 1995 very well. And actually, a few of those people that got bounced back, they're like ticks. You pulled them out, you didn't kill them, you threw them back in the woods. And now they're on you again.
Yep.
Because we've got people that were bounced in 95, that we bounced 5 people in 1995. That's the majority of the city council. So it's possible. But you're right, Scott. It's impossible if we get 14,000 or 15,000 people out. Well, the only thing I'm looking at a debate, I'd rather just interview them, because the debates, they go after each other, and Coogan sits back and says, let them rip them apart.
Exactly.
And I'm going to sit there and just suck up my base's vote. I don't think, personally, I'll give you, everybody's obviously, Steve, I understand that. I like to see their platform, but I would rather see them host a kind of a town meeting just as an individual and answer questions from you, from CJ. We're going to have them on the show. I want to know what they're going to do. I already know that Coogan doesn't do anything. I already know all the bad things Coogan's done. There's no reason to debate Coogan. You just say, look, he's got 6 years of doing nothing. This is what I'm going to do to fix the city. I want to see which one of these candidates is going to give me some hope that they have a plan other than getting in bed with all the big money people again to fix the city. I want to see them say we're going to do a forensic audit. I want to see them that we're going to do what Bob Carrere did when he got in, and that's take every department head and say, I'm going to interview every one of you. Your job is not secure. Yeah. If you put me in a room with Keith Tebow, it will not go well. After what he pulled on us, he didn't stand up for us. He's a coward. No, I want to see what they're offering. I mean, look, a debate to me, it gets too, you know what it is? It gets to be, I want to attack him to show I'm better than him. No, I don't want you to show me you're better than him. I want to know what you feel are your priorities to fix this city. I want to know what you think we really need. And if you don't think we need a forensic audit and know where every single penny is before we even get out of the gate, while you're in your transition, if you don't believe that, you're not getting my vote. I can tell you right now.
And you know, the worst part about it is, and I was talking to a candidate today, and I said very clearly about debates. And it wasn't only a candidate, because I ended up speaking to a couple of constituents. I said, Paul doesn't need to show up for debates, like you said, Chick. He's going to sit back, relax, and watch the other four tear each other apart. Even though they would attack him if he showed up. Which, if I was his campaign manager, I'd say, tell them to F off. You're not going to show up. When it comes down 1-to-1, that's a different story. But you're going to have to look at this from a point of view. Now, look at who you have running on the ballot. Oh, and by the way, the ballot will be 11 inches long because nobody ran. So for mayor, you'll have Paul Coogan, anyone but Paul, anyone but Coogan, Carlos Caesar, Michael J. Vandell, Gabriel Boomer Amaral, Christopher Sylvia. Now, already there's people who are bringing out the dirt on Christopher. They don't like him. Don't know why. You either love him or you hate him. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground with him. And he's making it worse for himself because he does not like opposition. He does not like comments against him. He does not like questions. Don't question him. What the hell are you going to do as mayor? Everything you do is going to be questioned. Everything. Now,
we'll find
Coogan's not doing anything. Vandal, I haven't heard a word. I haven't seen anything, heard anything, nothing. I'm surprised he got the signatures. And Boomer has just started coming out with the information. But the big question is he going to be able to do the job? He's made it clear.
Sorry.
He's made it clear to people.
I'm sorry. I had to laugh with this one.
No, you're right, Fatima. You're right.
Oh, Fatima, you're too much. Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, and you're right, Linda. Politics is not for you if you can't handle the scrutiny.
Yeah.
We're not in politics, and we get called everything under the sun. You don't see us stopping. You don't see us.
Believe me, we make elephant skin look thin.
That's right.
We got elephant skin. We've been doing this too long.
That's right.
No, but you're right.
You.
Listen, these guys, like I said, everybody. If I was a candidate, I would say, look, there's no need for a debate. I think Paul Coogan has been an absolute failure for 6 years, not 1, not 2, but 6 years. And now he wants another 2. He's destroyed the city, and I will articulate why. And I will tell you how I'm going to fix the city. And this is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to do it. And that's what I would do as a mayoral candidate. I would say, okay, I'm going to have a forensic audit, then I'm going to get every department head and I'm going to say, your job is on the line. We're going to review everything you've done. And then, once you're a mayor, you have access to other mayors. So you can look around this area, not only close, but anywhere in Rhode Island or, Connecticut, and even see cities that are being run very effectively and efficiently. And you say, do you mind if I use the head of that department as a resource to evaluate what they think of our department and what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong? And then you go back to the department head and said, look, the people that are doing this very, very well are doing it completely different. And they say, you're doing this wrong and this wrong. Why are you doing that way? Why have you been doing that way for this? You're gone. And that's what you got to do, unfortunately. But that's not what happens in Fall River. The Fall River low turnout voters always go for the status quo because then they can get their friends jobs.
Exactly. And they're not expecting a lot of people to come out in the primary because it's a mayoral race. Nobody cares. And it's sad. Oh, and by the way, Chicky's agreeing with you. Chicky says, I'm not a debate person either. I'm supporting Carlos Caesar. He's had a plan. I like his plan. See, somebody's got a plan.
Yeah. Well, I know Carlos has been advocating for a forensic audit from the get-go. So right out of the gate, that's one plus in a column for me. That's one plus. Because I'll tell you what, if they ever have a forensic audit, you're going to have half this city retire and run off to another state. Because when they are going to be held accountable for fiduciary irresponsibility by a forensic audit, they're going to bail. Because I've seen it. When we did our audit on the healthcare system, we had people that could have been put in jail, but the city didn't choose to put them in jail. They actually gave them a pay raise. What's the matter? Well, that's Fall River Real Estate.
Yes, right. I was going to mention that the real estate committee had met, and they're recommending to accept the sole bidder now up to part 2 to full council, which is today. They're having a special city council meeting. Now, here's the problem I have with that. I remember that there was a higher bid when there was 2 bidders. One was presented to the city council, one was not. Don't ask me why, but they were presented. Now, all of a sudden, we're down to 1, and the bid goes down $80,000. And somebody said earlier that Coogan, they said it on the Facebook page, that Coogan needs Tony. So he gets everything he can get because he needs the money. And he's right.
Listen.
Yeah, that's the old Sylvia school, Fred.
Yeah. Well, listen. The last thing we need is a partner rate, and we know how this operates. We know that he's got something on there. He was never a landlord, but now he's going to be market rate. He's got the War College down there. He's got a lot of connections. He's got a lot of money. These people, when they get rich, they make a lot of connections way up the food chain. A lot of people don't realize that one of our most famous, one of the first, the pioneer of getting rich in Fall River through insider trading and information, was on the board that when Billy Bolger, we all remember Billy Bolger, right? Whitey Bulger's brother that never really said he never saw him when he was on the lam, but he did. When he left the Senate and became the president of University of Massachusetts, this individual was on the board because he was rich. And guess what they did for Billy Bolger? They gave him a $200,000 pay raise as soon as he took the job. He was making over $300,000. He was the second highest pension in the state of Massachusetts when he retired. I know these things because I keep track of them. And what do you think they get back from Boston? when they do that to these people. Just like you just look at it, not only here, go across the line, drive over to Tiverton, then you're in Rhode Island, and we can talk about Sheldon Buford Whitehouse. His wife created some company. White House gave him an $80 million or $8 billion grant to clean up the beaches. Well, a lot of money to clean up beaches. And then he gave her a $2.7 million contract as a consultant to the company she created.
Right.
You wonder why these people want to stay in power? They all become millionaires. I mean, AOC was a bartender. Now she's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. They're all millionaires.
And it's amazing. They only make $170,000 a year. And they're millionaires after the first year.
I mean,
Tell me there's not insider trading going on.
And when you look at some of these people in Congress, their IQs are in double digits, not triple. They didn't make triple yet.
Right.
They haven't hit 100.
Hey, hi, Chris. How are you? Chris Peckham has joined us.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Nice.
We're having some fun here talking about, about the election and how people have got to just, they've got to stop voting for their friends and voting for people who are going to be their representatives, because we've got people that have been here for 20 years. Everybody's got a record. This is not an election. If you got a newbie, you got to listen to their promises. If they don't do it, you bounce them. But a guy like you had a record. You fought for the people. Okay, so we know you. We know but we also know what Kilby and Hart did. And like I said, it's nothing personal. I used to be friendly with those guys. They're not friendly with me anymore because, like I said, if my plumber sucks, I'm not going to hire him for a plumbing job if he's my neighbor. And he might be upset with me because I don't hire him because he's my neighbor. But if he can't separate the two, I want somebody who's going to work for the city of Fall River, for the people of Fall River, to avoid these catastrophes. Now we've had this catastrophe last weekend. Still, it's a disaster. Now we got the asthma report to go on with the mold for companies that we're paying millions and millions of dollars to maintain these systems, and they don't. And then they give the pedophile a job for what was it,
$91,000 a year.
$91,500 in the new budget. He was only getting $90,000 the year before. So, but I mean, this is what you do. We can't continue. I've been around a very, very long time, and I've always voted for people who do the job, not for people just because they like the same baseball team or they tell good jokes. The fact is that you have to, the city has to come out and do what we did in '95. That's put people in. Otherwise, the city is lost. I have never seen a more corrupt administration in my life, and that's saying something. I've seen some real corrupt crap go down in this city in the years I've been dealing since Carlton Viveris. I have never seen the kind of crap that's going on now. Yeah, you sell it only one bidder disappeared. Didn't that happen didn't that happen on Kilburn Street too, the Mills?
Yep.
Didn't we end up losing all the bidders mysteriously?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but everything is too easy for the people that fit in this city. They seem to be the only bidder. You could sell the bricks in that building for more than that. If I could scrape up 80 grand right now, I'd give them 80 grand. I'd knock the building down, sell the land, and sell the bricks and make my money and make money on the deal. Don't give me that crap. Remember once when they cared about the people and that was going to be a green space? Or am I the only one that remembers that?
I remember it.
Remember when they knocked down the project at Watuppa Heights and that was going to be veterans housing?
Yeah.
Drive by there now. It looks like you're in Vietnam with the elephant grass. The grass is 10 feet high. It's all fenced in. They did nothing with it. What did Coogan try to do? He said, no, we really don't want to do veterans housing. Let's do a little like market rate mix or something. I mean, this city is so freaking corrupt. It's driving me crazy to watch this stuff because, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, But I think that other congressman, Stevie, that thought Guam was going to sink if they put all the trucks on one side. Stevie, come on. Yeah, good thing Fred Sanford said it.
See, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be interesting if our city councilors could read the comments people made on Facebook as they were holding their meeting? Maybe they would change their votes. Maybe they would act differently. Maybe they would represent the people. Boy, I must be delusional.
Well, look at Annalise. Yeah, you know, Annalise, that is. I'm glad you said that, because technically, in the actual definition of fascism, that isn't fascism. But that's why fascism and socialism don't work. It's not all the people are equal, and everybody works for the state, and or to each one an equal share. No, it doesn't. You look at everywhere in the world they've had fascism, they have an ultra rich class, and this is what's happening. Now Healy's going to get it. Look, we got a corporation council now that wants to get into market rate housing.
And he did.
No, but everybody's getting into the housing market, even though Fall River is the only place on the planet in this country that's not at least talking about some affordable housing. They're all getting into market rate housing. You think there's a reason for that? Sure there is. Because you know what's going to happen? They're going to move every illegal in Massachusetts to Lowell, Lawrence, Brockton,
New Bedford, Fall River.
and Fall River. That's where they're all going to come. And then we're going to have a city with 125,000 people, and 57,000 of them are going to be on welfare and get free shit. And it's going to be like Detroit. And remember, I said it first. I want to know what the occupants of all these housing that is in such high demand. I want to see where they're from. I want to see. Tell me what these renters are. I see houses that I knew 40 years ago, and I knew the families who owned them that had been sold for market rate housing, and I see the people walking into them, and I can sure as tell you one thing: they don't look like they're from Martha's Vineyard, Newton, or Wellesley. I can tell. Pretty obvious. But they can afford $2,500 a month? Really? No, Healy's paying for it. She got them out of the hotels and they're putting them in market rate housing. I know that. I've heard that from people in Taunton that believe it. I've heard it from people in New Bedford. And now I see it in Fall River myself. They don't care. They're rich. They're going to live in a city now. And I know where they all live. Well, some of them are out of the city now, but I can guarantee you when they're all done raping this city, carpetbagging all the money, they got enough money to own. They're like Bernie. There's another fascist socialist. Let's get all the oligarchs. That's a multimillionaire. Bernie Sanders. He's got like 5 or 6 houses. Yeah, no, you're right. Foster Brooks would be a much better man. Unless he was drying out. Then he wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be able.
Jason, I'm sorry the ZBA voted the way they did, but I knew it was already in the bag. You even knew it was in the bag. Okay? Number one, you did not have enough people show up and voice an opposition. Not that it would have done any good, but you needed to have that opposition voice. Okay? You should have got an attorney right away. Challenge the decision by the ZBA. The ZBAs across this state have lost every case that's come before the courts because there's only 3 reasons they can grant a variance, and they violate it every time. They violate it every time.
But it wouldn't do any good, CJ. You're 100% right. But the only thing that does good is if we get people to the polls and we change our leadership. Remember who appoints all these people? The mayor. And this is the problem. The problem is that the criminals are running the businesses. They all have a special interest, and they all defecate in the same pot. And this is the problem we have in this city. This is as corrupt. I've never seen it. So obviously, they just don't care now. They just buy everything. They're going to own the whole city. We're going to have to change the name. And why? I mean, that's not even good business unless you were assured of things. And these people are assured of things, just like they're assured of government contracts. They're assured of having people move into their rental spaces because they're on the boards of hospitals. And mysteriously, the hospitals move their satellite offices into their buildings, and they get mega rents from these places, and we're paying taxes. Listen, this isn't rocket science. But the thing is, if you don't change the leadership, yeah, well, I understand that, Jason. You're right. They're afraid. People are afraid. They're all not nuts like CJ and I. We don't care. There's nothing they can do to us.
That's
You
right.
see, look, CJ earned his way. He got a PhD in nursing. He worked as a nurse, and he earned a living. I took a test to get on the fire department. I took a test for lieutenant. I took a test for captain. I took a test for chief. I took a test for chief of the department, and nobody gave me the job. I got the score. I was number one on a list, and I got promoted when I was number one on a list. That's it. So, but these are the only kind of jobs we can function in, because if it's going to be a job where you get ahead of a political kiss assing, we would have got fired on the first week. And Wellesley doesn't have a lot of them, but they get rid of them as fast as they get rid of them in Martha's Vineyard in Wellesley, because I know some people who live in Wellesley. Yeah, he ran. You're right. Bruno, you're right. Look, Jaisal ran his city, and it's amazing. Like I said, he was a young kid, and I'm not making excuses for him. I made bad choices, and I'll call him out on the bad choices. But he's a young kid. He went crazy. He got a little bit of money. And how many athletes have you seen like that? They become super athletes. They never had a lot of money, and they go nuts, and they make a lot of mistakes personally. But I can tell you something, and I don't lie. And, you know me, I'll call it like I see it. I dealt with Jaisal a lot on the health care, on retirement, and on other issues. And I'll tell you what, we had a lot of discussions. We came to an agreement most of the time, but we disagreed on some things. But he ran the city, very, very effectively. He was one of the most effective mayors I have seen in my career in politics, which is long. Because remember, when I took over the union, Carlton was going to when he was going to the city hall as the mayor, he was riding a dinosaur. So, but I've been in it a long time. But Jaisal was, and it's not only my opinion, but I have no dog in that fight. I was fighting for the people, for the healthcare and stuff. But even Sean Kadeen called out Coogan in his first term and said, "You suck." Jaisal was a much better mayor than you were. But now Jaisal was there, and he was a better leader. But now, after the first term, Sean may make a little noise once in a while, but he doesn't call Coogan out much anymore and say he sucks, because everybody's afraid of Coogan now. He's got a lockdown on his city like I've never seen. You can't get anything in this city unless you can't kiss a Coogan's ass or a Long's ass. And that's the reality. And the thing is that I never had to do that because, like I said, I got a job that I took a test for. And that's the thing. Yeah, honest graft. No, it's not honest, Jason. It is actually illegal. It's malfeasance on the part of a public official. Well, people have floated that idea by going to a type E charter where we have a city manager.
Right.
CJ and I have been advocating that for 20 years. We've been advocating getting rid of the mayor in his city for years. Now, don't get me wrong. Under that charter, they have a ceremonial mayor, but they don't run the city. Right. We have a financial person that runs the city, and he is accountable to the council and to the people. And I think that's a much better way, because the only thing you can hold, the only thing he's responsible for is how we spend our money and if we spend it correctly. There's no politics involved. If we're spending it wrong, you can make a case to dump them. Mayors are politicians. Mayors give out the jobs. Mayors give out this. We should have a type E charter. Every job in the city of Fall River, there should be an open application process, and there should be a bidding process. Baby, come on. You're insulting Lurch, Steve. You're insulting Lurch. Come on. You rang? No, he was no. Listen, his words were true. Like I said, and like I said, he didn't have anything to gain from that. He was making a statement that he could back up, that everybody knows. Listen, and that was in his first term. And the horrific moral to that statement is that he got 2 additional terms and he wants another one. That's the thing. We've got to rise up. Yeah, we got it. Well, Buddy Cianci went to jail, came back, and rescued Providence because he learned. But Buddy was a unique guy. I actually knew Buddy fairly. I knew him. I wasn't super close with him, but I knew him pretty well. I was very close with the president of the Providence firefighters, and he was really tight with Buddy. That's how I got to know Buddy. And every time I used to go up on Columbus Day weekend to the feast up there, I'd run into Buddy, and we'd shoot the breeze and stuff, and I ran into him anywhere else. He was a great mayor. Yeah, he had his, he did some things, but the thing about Buddy Cianci that made Buddy Cianci what he was and made him electable even after what happened was the people of Providence believed in him. He was for the people of Providence, because I know from the president of Firefighters Union, I knew the guys in the laborers union. I know a lot of people in the labor unions in Providence. Anybody that went into Providence looking to do work in Providence, the first thing Buddy would tell them is, go talk to the unions. He was for the people of Providence. He was a mayor for the people. He cared about the regular people in Providence, and he showed it with every fiber of his being. When you saw him out on the street, he greeted you. He greeted the people of Providence. He went into the neighborhoods. He didn't hide. Yeah, well, like I said, there's another classic example of why guys like Kadim, who talk a lot, but then they vote the wrong way all the time. They don't deserve to be in those seats. We can't get rid of them all, but he would be the lesser of the evils. But I'm going to tell you right now, the only incumbent city council that's got my vote is, and I'll say it proudly because I think she does a great job. I don't agree with everything, but I think she does a great job advocating for the people, is Michelle Dion. And we have a former city councilor who's back on the ballot who has my vote because he has a record that I know he fights for the people. So those are the kind of people I vote for. I don't care. Like I said, I used to be friendly with Kilby and Hart. They probably hate me now. They probably got little voodoo dolls of me and stick pins in them.
You've got voodoo dolls of them.
Yeah. No, I got a voodoo doll, but I say pick a finger. Which one do you want me to stick in? So but that's what we got to do.
Okay, we're running out of time here. So before we run too much out of time, I want to get into the list of city council candidates. Linda Pereira, incumbent. Andrew J. Raposo, incumbent. Paul Hart, idiot, incumbent. Nathan Sylvia. That's going to be an interesting one because if he's elected and Chris is elected, God forbid, Nathan can't vote. Everything gets sent down by the mayor. He'd have a total conflict of interest. Christopher Michael Peckham. Bradford Brad Kilby, idiot, incumbent. Ricky Tith. Joe Camara, Michelle Dion, Louis Alves Mellon, Cliff Ponte, Sean Kadim, Michael G. Canuel, and Jonathan D. Lima.
They
Not
didn't
a
list.
lot of,
They didn't list Tiff as an incumbent.
they listed him as an appointed incumbent. AI.
Oh well. AI, artificial intelligence, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish Ricky T would demonstrate some artificial intelligence. Something. You know what I mean?
He's sitting too close to Andrew.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. And Andrew's so paranoid that he won't get reelected. With that number of people running, odds are, unless you're a real doofus, you're going to get reelected. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
it's
it is
always
a
been a
part-time.
part-time
It is a
job.
part-time job. No question about it. Ken Fiola, or is it Vincent Shepard? Oh, God.
I think maybe he's Machiavelli.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. It is sparse. I have an announcement from the owner of Gabriel House. There are no words to adequately convey the depth of our grief and shock over the devastating events of July 13th at the Gabriel House. Indeed, to call what occurred that night a tragedy is an understatement. Our hearts are broken for the victims and their families. Their losses will never be forgotten. We are eternally grateful for the Fall River Fire Department and Fall Police Department for their heroic response to the fire. And we also thank the ambulance companies and medical personnel who provided exemplary and compassionate care to our victims. The Gabriel House has been a fixture in the community for decades, and our staff, half of whom have been with us for 10 years or more, is deeply dedicated to improving the lives of our residents every day. We take pride in knowing that we make assisted living possible for many community members in need who might not otherwise be able to obtain that assistance. We are currently providing temporary housing to residents who were displaced by the fire. Ensuring the safety of our residents has always been our paramount responsibility. Since our purchase of Gabriel House in late 1999, maintaining compliance with all the safety and building codes has always been our priority, and they were quarterly inspections of the fire suppression system, the latest as recently as 5 days prior to the fire. Gabriel House continues to work closely with state and local fire investigators as they seek the cause, origin, and potential contributing factors to the fire, and have provided them with all records related to the building's safety. One focus of the investigation has been the status of the building's fire suppression system, or sprinkler system, and investigators have taken several sprinkler heads for further investigation. Among the information we have provided is documentation of regular tests of the sprinklers by the vendor, the most recent of which was performed on July 8th of this year. That test reported the sprinkler system to be in working order. We will continue to provide investigators with whatever assistance they need. We, like them, realize the importance of knowing exactly what caused this catastrophe and if there was factors that made it worse. Our community, our residents, and most of all, the families who have suffered these unimaginable losses deserve nothing less. We deeply value our standing in the Fall River community and will continue to strive every day to be responsible, compassionate, and caring neighbor. George K. Regan Jr., spokesman of Gabriel House. The fire is still under investigation.
Yeah, well, it'll remain for quite a while, but the fact is that from that perspective, it's like, sprinkler systems, it wasn't a sprinkler heads, you can tell if they went off. Sprinkler systems, sometimes they put the fire out, but I can guarantee you all, if not most of those fatalities were smoke related, and it doesn't abate the smoke. You got a building with windows closed and stuff, and it's heavily charged with smoke from whatever fire it was. And as I said, I saw a mattress fire that never extended beyond the mattress, killed people on the third floor of a three-decker. So this is a lot. And I know that that of course they're devastated and stuff, but unfortunately, when things like this happen, unless somebody really wants to dig deep, it's about the fact that you have to accept the fact that it gets down to one thing: we would have saved more people if we had the correct manning levels. Period. If they had an evacuation plan, if they had, I know it happened later on. I know most of those facilities have. You'd be more. You would know too, CJ. I just know it because I had to inspect nursing homes quarterly, and I know that once the first shift is over, where some of the occupants are awake, ambulatory, they eat and stuff, and they have game rooms and stuff like that for the ones that are still able to do that at nursing homes. But I know there's always a drastic reduction in the staffing levels in the second and third shifts.
Hey, when I was in the rehab center, which basically is a nursing home, I had a fire drill at 12:30 at night.
Yep.
12:30 at night. Talk about extremely reduced staffing. But they said, oh, it's just a fire drill. I said, oh, just a fire drill. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I inspected nursing homes, it used to always bother me because there's somebody who had to pull these people out if we had a fire. I knew we were in trouble.
Right.
The fact is that they had 28 people working during the day and 3 at night.
Right.
So it's like, what are 3 people going to do in a 3-story building full of people that are either barely ambulatory or not ambulatory at all? And the irony is that most nursing homes, they put the worst patients on the upper floors.
Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, they always do. And there's nothing I can do about it. But the fact is, except say, it's not a great idea that the people who are, barely, they can't basically get out of the bed unassisted are on the highest floor in the building. So these things are nightmares to begin with. When anybody gets an alarm that says it's in an assisted living or worse, a nursing home, you're in a lot of trouble. And the thing is that it's not going to change because nursing homes are not going to keep 28 people on around the clock because they're going to lose money. And unfortunately, that's the reality. So now you got a dose of reality through all the political, all the hyperbole, because there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. I'm just disappointed, as you said in your weekend flush, that they didn't hire an attorney that was a specialist in this, who could have really gotten down into what was done wrong by the mayor and everybody else and the Manning stand and everything else. Now, Morgan & Morgan, I know they're a very large company, but they're mostly auto accidents and stuff like that, mesothelioma and stuff like that. These guys are not there are attorneys out there who specialize in this. There have been massive lawsuits settled, and I happen to know one guy that settled a lot of them. But these people can go in there and they can eviscerate the chief if he did something wrong, and the mayor. And I know they'd eviscerate the mayor for not making Manning, but there are case precedents out there. It's a sad commentary because the thing is, we can't bring back those 9 people.
10.
If we would have had adequate Manning, it might have been. I know it would have been less.
10 people.
Oh, is it 10 now? They retracted it. Now it's back to 10.
Yep.
Okay.
It's 10. Yep.
Yeah. So, I try not to watch the local news. It makes me nauseated.
I know.
But all right, that's it. So I know we're running a little over, but it was a good show, and we did a lot of things. I hope. Usyk knocked that Dubois out in the 5th round. I know, I was watching. Okay, you guys. Okay, CJ, take it away.
Well, I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And please go out and vote. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Wednesday.